Hi everyone, back with another election prediction video. This time we're taking a look at the 2026 Senate map for the month of August 2025. And I would say that the map has the Democrats have gotten a bit more good news for their Senate prospects as of late. They're still definitely the underdogs in retaking the Senate in 2026. I really doubt that it would actually occur. But they do have some good news going their way. So let's start off with the first few safe states. So Florida, that's off the board for Democrats. I don't see that race being competitive at all. Alaska, it's only really competitive if Mary Patola runs, and right now I think she'd rather run for governor, but she said all options are on the table. For now, I'm assuming she doesn't run in Alaska Senate race. In Virginia, pretty sure the incumbent senator here for the Democratic side is most likely running Mark Warner. So far, he did raise a fair amount of cash on the Republican side. They've got a bunch of nobodies. Glenn Youngkin's probably not running for the Senate seat either. So it is safe Democratic. New Jersey, Cory Booker running for re-election here. He's an outperformer. I think he's going to win by a safe blue margin. Going over to Nebraska, I really doubt Dan Osborne being able to win this state. He previously ran against a weaker Republican in Deb Fischer. This time he's facing Pete Ricketts, who's a much stronger Republican. So I still think Ricketts is only going to win by under 10. So I'm still putting it as a likely Republican state. Going over to New Mexico, on the Democratic side, I don't really think they're facing anyone that strong on the Republican side, so I'm keeping it as likely blue. Minnesota, it has the chance of going safe blue if Royce White gets the nomination on the Republican side. For now, I'm assuming they nominate someone sane on the Republican side, so it's going to be likely blue. Going over to New Hampshire, we got Chris Pappas running on the Democratic side. And the Republican side, we have Scott Brown, who previously lost in 2014 in a red wave year. So just judging by how Pappas won in the past, his House seat, he outperformed by like 5 points against Harris. So again, I think he's going to do pretty well in New Hampshire statewide, so I have this as likely blue. Let's go over to Texas. Now, a bit of the calculation has changed in Texas, in my opinion. Just because Ken Paxton, he recently got divorced by his wife, there's a lot of ammunition for the Democrats to use against him here. He is a very scandal-ridden candidate on the Republican side. He's leading all the primary polling still, and I really doubt that's going to change much even after his divorce. I think he's pretty much got the nomination very much in his favor. I mean, Cornyn's probably going to need Trump's endorsement, and he's probably going to need Trump to campaign for him in the state of Texas for him to have a chance against Paxton, unless the scandal's so bad that even Republican primary voters couldn't stomach voting for Paxton, which I kind of doubt. I still think he's going to win the primary unless it's really terrible that comes out against him. It could also come against him in the general election. Let's say he wins the primary, then that scandal could leak, and then Colin Allred could have a very good shot at beating Ken Paxton in a R+13 state. But so far, I'm just going to assume that Paxton wins the nomination in Texas, and I still expect him to be the favorite in this state. But I don't expect him to win by a likely margin. I expect him to only win by like 4 points against Colin Allred right now. Again, that scandal could be very bad. We could see a chance that Allred could beat Paxton in the state. But again, it's a very Republican state. It massively swung towards the right in 2024. So even though Paxton's very scandal-ridden, he's still the favorite to keep the Texas Senate seat red. So far, all we know is it was just a divorce between him and his wife, probably based on infidelity from the implications that I've read. That's what I think it was mainly about, but who knows? Got really no idea about that. It's just a rumor. So let's keep on going through the next few states. In Ohio, we could have Sherrod Brown run for his Senate seat in this state. Uh, Chuck Schumer is having a lot of dinners with Sherrod Brown that try to convince him to run for Senate again. And you can kind of see why in the map. Democrats really need to flip Ohio blue to really have a chance in the Senate because they need to get to 51 seats. That means they have to win all these toss up races just to flip the Senate back to blue. Unless they win in Texas, which, unless the scandal's really bad about Paxton, it's probably not going to happen. But so far, Sherrod Brown's either winning a Senate run or a governor run, and he's kind of stuck in between both. We really have no idea what he's going to do, so for now, I'm just going to assume that he doesn't run and that he probably runs for governor. Honestly, I have no idea what he's going to do. It's pretty unpredictable, but the Republicans have a pretty strong candidate in Jon Husted, so for now, I'm putting this as a likely Republican race, assuming Sherrod Brown doesn't step in this race. If Brown does step into this race, it goes down to lean Republican. For now, I'm just going to put it as likely red. Let's head to Iowa, where we have Joni Ernst likely running for re-election. There was some reporting saying that she was considering not running for re-election, but so far, I'm just going to assume she is going to run. On the Democratic side, we have J.D. Sloden, who's a pretty strong candidate, and he's a bit of an outperformer too. So just based on how Joni Ernst has been campaigning as of recently, saying that we're all going to die someday to voters concerned about losing their health care, I think that was pretty insensitive of her to say that. I think she's one of the more vulnerable Republicans in 2026. In Iowa, it could swing blue in a midterm year. In the 2018 midterms, we saw 3 House seats in Iowa go blue out of 4, and the Democrats actually did well in the governor's race here. So Iowa, it could swing back and forth here. It's a really elastic state in terms of midterm election years. So I'm putting Iowa as lean Republican for now. Democrats, if they want to win the Senate, they must win Iowa to even have a chance at it. But that's a tall order considering it's an R+13 state like Texas. So let's keep on going. Let's head to North Carolina next because there's recent news that Roy Cooper has announced he is running for the Senate seat here. And on the Republican side, it's likely that Michael Whately becomes the Republican nominee. But then again, Roy Cooper has never lost a statewide race in North Carolina. He's won 4 times statewide. Popular former governor here, high favorables in this state. It's definitely going to be well liked by independents, so I see this race as lean Democratic in the state of North Carolina. I really struggle to see how Roy Cooper could lose this race. Going over to Georgia, the Republicans don't really have any good candidates in Georgia. They missed out on Brian Kemp running, and on the Republican side, it looks very likely that Mike Collins will be the Republican nominee, and he really isn't that good of a candidate. He's definitely very divisive. He's probably not going to deal with independents in this state or moderate voters, so he's definitely going to lose out on those types of voters that Brian Kemp probably could have won. And Jon Ossoff, I do think he's a pretty good campaigner. He unseated an incumbent senator, so he's definitely got the right campaign style going for him. And he already raised a lot of money so far. So based off all the polling currently in this race, Jon Ossoff has never lost a poll against Mike Collins so far, so I'm putting Jon Ossoff as the favorite in this state. I think he wins by 1.5%, while Roy Cooper, North Carolina, wins by 2. So let's head over to Michigan, and I think the Democrats should be a little bit worried about Michigan because so far in the early polling, they aren't doing amazing. So far, Stevens is the only one to lead, but that could be due to name ID as we go on throughout this race. But Mike Rogers looks pretty formidable, and he's very likely to be the Republican nominee. Last time he ran, it was tilt Democratic, but this is a midterm year with the bluer environment. So Michigan, as a result, will probably be bluer than expect. Well, bluer than it was in 2024, that's for sure. But right now, I still think the Democrats are favored in this race, but definitely keep an eye on it because early polling doesn't look the best for them right now. So I'm mainly basing it on what I expect the environment to be in Michigan, and I think it's going to be a bluer one. So I'm assuming whoever is the Democratic nominee will win by 2% in the state of Michigan. Heading over to Maine, we're hearing more and more talks that Jeanette Mills is definitely considering running for Maine Senate seat here. Right now, I think she's kind of like split in between it because here's the thing: she's on the older side. She's, I believe, 78 years old or 77. So again, when you're on the older side, it's kind of hard to decide to run for another contest here. She might just run just to unseat Susan Collins and just retire 6 years later. But she is definitely the best bet for Democrats to flip the Senate seat blue. Ryan Vecto could also be a very good candidate for them to run. He's the Speaker of the Maine House. So I definitely think he would have a pretty good chance at beating Susan Collins. She is very vulnerable. Her approval rating is really low. But a lot of it, reason why it's so low is because Republicans think she's acting too moderate or centrist for their liking. And those guys are still going to vote for Susan Collins at the end of the day because she is a Republican. But she is facing a primary challenger here who's probably going to go nowhere against her. So for now, I'm keeping Maine as tilt Republican until a real prominent Democrat announces a run against her. But the Democrats have a shot at Maine for sure. It's a very competitive state, in my opinion. But this is how I see the 2026 Senate map going as of right now. We had some changes in Texas with Ken Paxton's scandal coming out. Good news for Democrats in North Carolina with Roy Cooper announcing. So this is just how I see the board currently. So if you're new to this channel, you enjoy videos like this one, you should definitely consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it a lot. Other than that, I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.